to Chacon, and I always actually knew I was an artist. So, but I didn't know I could study art until much later. So when I realized that I could study art, I realized that it was kind of a conflict inside of me, because the art world is really defined by an elitist culture, very competitive, very individualistic, and so that really didn't resonate with me and how I grew up. I didn't feel like the art world was very conducive to community, so I didn't know how, but I wanted to somehow figure out how to do my artwork in a very community-oriented way. So the vision of Mestizo was to create a space, a public space, that was in Utah, that told another narrative about Utah and the people that represented the other part of the demographics that wasn't being represented in other public spaces. And the vision was to have a coffee shop and a gallery next to it. We wanted to kind of reshape what a gallery was supposed to look like, only because, well, I guess from my own personal background, I come from a working class family. We didn't really go to galleries. Those spaces were really, kind of exclusive, and we wanted to create a space that was, that kind of went against the grain of what a gallery should look like. And so we wanted to create kind of like a home atmosphere with a coffee shop where people can come and have coffee, and then also go look at the artwork. We intentionally, along with other people who partnered with us to open up the second space where it is located right now, wanted to be in a neighborhood that was underrepresented by the city, and also a location where where the identity of that location was formed by other people's perceptions, stereotypes, and fears based on the people who live there. And so, so space and location and personal identity, they all went hand in hand on the intention of what Mestizo was trying to do, which was break stereotypes and empower ourselves and our neighborhoods to be able to say that we claim our neighborhood, and we claim our community pride, and also our cultural backgrounds and identities, and we shape how we want to identify ourselves. And this was kind of the purpose of Mestizo. WLI, so Mestizo was already envisioned before I attended WLI. WLI, pretty much, it was a course that kind of made me think about what the purpose of Mestizo was, why was it important, and then they had us write a mini grant, and so that was one of the things that I had never done before. And so it really was one of those things that kind of pushed me to think about really what was my vision for Mestizo, what did I want out of it, what was, and how do you make it work. Also, I think the other thing that WLI was important for me was the fact that I got to meet other people who in the neighborhood who were really passionate about social change in different ways. There were different people who really were concerned about the community, especially our neighborhood and the perceptions around our neighborhood, and how it was there was not a lot of investment in our neighborhood. Yet people cared about it, and so I think that really gave me hope, and really helped me realize that we all wanted social change, but we all had different ways of aiming towards it, and mine was through the arts. No, I think now it's kind of nice to see people who took the class with do different things and go on to do big things, and it's kind of amazing, because I remember a lot of them in the class were like, I kind of have this idea, but really, can I do this? You know, I think everybody kind of questioned whether they had that kind of value. And since then, you've seen a lot of those projects manifest, and you see how it empowered people that, yeah, everyone has the power to be able to take social change into their own hands and be able to create something. If they only have an idea and passion for it, it's possible to do it. And I think that it's really, as far as now running into some of those people, I think you meet kind of lifelong friends, you know, that you've known, since then, you know. And it's been, I don't even know, like 10, 11 years since we took it, the first pilot program for when I started it. I think what I learned was when you're trying to control, when you're trying to control the direction of moving an organization into your, you know, how you think that it should move, it kind of becomes stagnant because not everyone may believe that that's the right way to do it. However, when you bring other people's input together and kind of come to consensus on how to move something, then it moves, but it moves slowly. It doesn't move quickly, it moves very slowly, but it moves and it doesn't stop growing. It doesn't become stagnant because not one person is trying to control it. So I think what describes the essence of what I'm trying to talk about is the Zapatista quote, when spiders unite, they can take down a lion. So I was all over the place. I was, you know, I did function as a co-founder, the executive director, the barista, had my hands in everything, and then realized I didn't really have all those skills. So when we brought in board members, everyone pretty much brought their expertise to the table to be able to help Mestizo grow. And then my role really ended up being, in the end, building relationships with artists, when people came in the door, and anytime anybody wanted to tour or whatever, I ended up being the one to be kind of the spokesperson and build those relationships in order to like not only let people know that Mestizo was there, but also if they wanted to be involved and help it grow. The most difficult part, I think, was just being lost in the very beginning, not really knowing how to do it, and kind of learning along the way how to bring other people involved who could bring those skills. And then also, when you have a community space, you know, you do have politics. And I guess, you know, it's coming to terms that when you build something that's a community building space, people have different perceptions on how to get to create a vision. And sometimes there's snags, and sometimes there's conflict. And I think I think it was hard to realize, okay, as long as we stay focused on the organization and not personalities or not anything like that, then it'll be fine. I think going back, I mean, towards the end of, knowing that I had to leave Mestizo was the part where I felt like it was in a space where other people could help it grow, and that Mestizo wasn't about Ruby, it wasn't about me, it was about community. And I think we all have somewhat of an ego, and we don't want to let things go. And I think that was one of the hardest things for me. You have to let it grow in a way that maybe you didn't envision it, and let it go, not control it. Well, obviously the relationships have been the best part. seeing people, especially now, especially after over the years towards the end when I got to work with a partnership that we partnered with Mestizo Arts and Activism, that became like a family to me, and seeing the youth feel empowered, because I think that's like a very crucial age for me, being a teenager, and when you're that age, you can buy it. I mean, you're very vulnerable to believing in a lot of the stereotypes and how other people shape your identity. But when you see a lot of those youth and how when they become empowered and do their own projects, and it's almost like your work has meaning, you know, and I think, I guess the second part of it is that Mestizo doesn't need me anymore. It's still growing, and I live in California now. I left it, 2 years ago now, and it's, you know, it's still functioning, and still a lot of people believe in it, and the fact that, wow, when I come back, I think, wow, I was a part of creating that, and it's still here, and it feels good. It feels really good. I think, I feel like I helped build a family that will always be here, and every time I come back, I feel like I'm still a part of it. It's like I never left. So Mestizo Arts and Activism was co-founded by professors from the University of Utah, Caitlin Cahill, David Quijada, and Matt Bradley. So it's a partnership with the University of Utah where high school youth come and create decide on what sort of issues that they want to research, and based on that research they create projects out of it, and they could be art projects to blogs to documentaries, whatever, you know, they want to create, and then a lot of times they'll present it at conferences and other public spaces. In the end of the year, they all get stipends, and they also get college tuition. And since that has started in 2007, there have been a lot of students who have gone to college and who come back as mentors, and then so it kind of recycles itself. And so I think that's the part that's very empowering, because like you see them go on and they realize how important. I mean, it becomes a family that they don't leave. Once they go to college, they come back and they become the mentors. But it's not only the projects that they create. It's also, you know, there's time where there's committed to like helping with homework, to helping with like the seniors with writing, applying to the university, to applying to financial aid or scholarships, and all that stuff. So it's kind of creates a smoother pipeline to college, not necessarily the University of Utah, mostly University of Utah, but to college. So it becomes a really good source of support, not only for the youth, but also for the adults. I think people who want to be involved in whatever they want to be involved in, first of all, realize that they are capable of making change. Get a mentor if they're not sure. It's okay to work in the dark and figure it out as you go. But I think the most important thing that I didn't learn until the very end is in the process when you're doing whatever it is that you're doing, make sure you're taking care of your well-being as well. Because I think in the process of Mestizo, I didn't take care of myself. I didn't take care of my well-being. It was all about the passion of having this space and wanting it to grow because of my own experiences and everything like that, that I forgot about my own well-being. And in the process, I kind of like a lot of things fell apart in my personal life. So you got to make sure that you're taking care of yourself in the process of your project. And it might be slower, but patience, I guess that would be the last thing, is just to be patient and consistent, and just be ready to be in it for the long haul.